Hey there everyone, I'm Ashley Bullington and you're watching The Campfire. This week we're deep diving into District 9 5A Division 1 from the greater Houston area. Some teams are gone from District 9 5A Division 1 and have gone to 8 5A Division 1, including the former district champion and district runner-up. Since it's gotten a facelift, this is the new District 9 5A Division 1 that you'll be seeing in 2020.
Baytown Lee, Baytown Sterling, Beaumont United, Goose Creek Memorial, Friendswood, Galveston Ball, LaPorte, and Port Arthur Memorial.
Now it's time for our film session, presented by your local Geico offices in Cypress, Katy, Spring, and Pearland.
District 9 5A Division 1 looks completely different following the UIL's latest realignment. Only 2 of the 8 teams remaining are the same, Goose Creek Memorial and Port Arthur Memorial. On the surface, Goose Creek Memorial's 3-7 record last season may not jump off the page, but the Patriots have continued to improve since going winless in 2016, and this looks like a program on the rise. Fellow Goose Creek Consolidated ISD schools, Baytown Lee and Baytown Sterling, are new to 9 5A Division 1, rekindling those rivalries. Sterling struggled to a 1-win season last year, but looks to rebuild in 2020. The Lee Ganders began the season 4-1 last year, but lost 4 of their final 5 games to miss the playoffs. But the Ganders program appears headed in the right direction, and with a number of key players returning, this could be a breakout year for Baytown Lee. Baytown Sterling is one of 3 schools dropping from Class 6A, and all 3 were in 21 6A together. Beaumont United and LaPorte are the other 2. The proud LaPorte program has missed the playoffs the last 2 seasons, finishing in the middle of the pack in that difficult 6A district. Look for the Bulldogs to bounce back this fall in head coach Anthony Renfro's second year at the helm in LaPorte. Rounding out this league are a pair of teams that were in the loaded 10 5A Division 1 the last 2 seasons, Friendswood and Galveston Ball. Friendswood went 9-3 last year against that loaded schedule and just might be the district favorite this year. 3-year starter Luke Gurdon returns as the Mustang signal caller. The senior has a handful of postseason starts under his belt and has the poise needed to take this program to the next step. Galveston Ball opened up last season with 3 straight wins before dropping its final 7 contest of the year. The Golden Tornadoes have a new head coach, Sheldon Benight, who heads to the island after winning back-to-back state titles as an assistant at North Shore. While it will be difficult to replicate that level of success overnight, expect Ball to battle for its first playoff berth since 2017.
And those are some great teams. But special teams are made of special players. We take a look at some of those from this district and our players on the rise, presented by Grimaldi's Pizzeria.
LaPorte football has a star on defense, Albert Regis, who is committed to Minnesota for college. He is a monster on both sides of the ball for the Bulldogs, but does the most damage defensively. Baytown Sterling had a tough run in 2019, but linebacker Omar Huntington is hoping to lead his Rangers to a better 2020 season. Huntington and the defense have been the highlight of the Rangers for the last 2 seasons. Going into his 4th year as a starter, Luke Gurdon is taking his experience as a leader of the Mustangs to the next level his senior year. Going into a brand new district may be just what Gurdon and his team need to give them the edge come playoffs. Last season, Gurdon had 1,849 passing yards and 18 touchdowns. Galveston Ball Jr. wide receiver Nehemiah Knoll is a tornado on the field. In his 10 games in the 2019 season, he had 25 receptions for 560 yards and 3 touchdowns. Running back Bryce Lane is the speed for the Patriots. Though Goose Creek Memorial had a rough 2019 season, they had some bright spots, one being Lane and how he could break through defenses. Soon-to-be senior running back Kiki Davis is the man who makes things happen for the Ganders. Davis averages 6.4 yards per carry and has 1,400 career yards for Baytown Lee.
and those are phenomenal players on the gridiron. But do you know somebody from the high school sports scene doing great in your community? A player, coach, or team in your area going that extra mile? Nominate them for a Chevy Spotlight. To nominate, go to IHSSChevySpotlight.com and pay attention to our social media throughout the summer, as we'll be highlighting some of those nominations. Now it's time for our Media Day segment.
Hey there, everyone. I have the producer of Chevy's Inside High School Sports, Robert Sheik, on with us today to talk some 9-5A Division I. Robert, it's a whole new world in 9-5A Division I.
It is.
Completely
it's
new
like
district.
Christopher Columbus just discovered this district.
Aladdin and Jasmine are riding on their flying carpet through it. I mean,
yes, exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about it. I mean, the reigning district champion's gone. Some teams are coming down from 6A to 5A. I mean, this got a facelift, this district did.
Yeah, it's really a brand new district, and that's during realignment, this current realignment, a lot of the districts, there might be a team or two moving here or there, but that's really about it. In 9-5A, all bets are off. It's a completely new district, which should be a lot of fun for us. Some programs that we've seen struggle a little bit in some really difficult districts might have a new chance. Some teams that held their own and played really well in some very, very difficult districts could have a chance to really take that next step. And then some programs, that are also moving up from 5A Division II, so it'll be interesting to see how they acclimate. So this could really be a fun district, and I'm not really sure how it's going to play out, because we've seen some of these programs that are coming into this district have been perennial playoff type teams, but then they were in very difficult alignments the last couple of years, and all of a sudden, now they've freed away from some of those teams, and kind of right off the top of my head, I'm thinking about LaPorte, one of the really good traditional programs, but has just been buried in a very difficult district, 21-6A, I believe it was, with North Shore and Beaumont Westbrook and those caliber of teams. So I'm sure LaPorte will not miss having to play that difficult 6A schedule as it drops down to 5A Division I. Galveston Ball is another one that had made the playoffs a few years in a row before going into that difficult 10-5A Division I the last 2 years. That of course had Shadow Creek and Foster, Fort Bend Hightower, and Friendswood. And Friendswood also in 10-5A Division I. Friendswood moves into 9-5A Division I. And, of course, Friendswood had a great season last year, made the playoffs, finished second or third in that. I think second in that district, if I remember correctly. Now Friendswood has a chance to really maybe take that next step and potentially become, try and win a district title and go on to bigger and better things after that. And especially since the Mustangs bring back a 4-year starter quarterback. It's not very often you see that in the high school ranks or really at any level. So maybe Luke Gurdon is sort of the Sam Ellinger of Houston high school football. He burst onto the scene as a freshman. He led Friendswood a few rounds deep in the playoffs in Class 6A. It was his freshman year. Yes, 2017 is correct. So you have this element of, boy, Friendswood could really take that next step. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Mustangs. But then, some of these other programs like LaPorte, Galveston Ball, and then the Baytown ISD schools, that's a whole other topic that we can get into. All three of those are kind of in a rebuilding process, all kind of at different stages, but all three have reason for optimism, kind of different reasons. So it'll be interesting to see. Goose Creek Memorial, didn't win any games a few years ago and has slowly kind of been rising up and went 3-7 last year. It seems like the Patriots are, on their way to becoming the New England Patriots, maybe. You never know. But All right, so Baytown Lee, kind of another example, a program that has had some success in the past, seems to be kind of in that rebuilding mode and making some strides in that. The Ganders got off to a good start last year and then kind of hit the meat of their schedule and slowed down a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if Baytown Lee can kind of take that next step forward as well next season.
So New Caney and Porter are gone, 1 and 2 from last year. I know you said you don't know if you can really pick a winner, but who do you think is going to come out of the gates in this district and really just be the people or be the team on the scene to kind of take over 9-5A Division I?
I think you have to start. Friendswood and LaPorte, to me, would seem to be the two teams to beat, so to speak, that everyone will be gunning for. Beaumont United, another one dropping down from 6A, that will have a little bit of a target on its back in this district. And Galveston Ball as well. There's no reason to think that the Tours can't get back to their winning ways from a couple of years ago when that was a playoff program. So it's going to be really interesting because it will be wide open. Just how good Friendswood has been in the last few seasons and having that 4-year starter quarterback, that's just so valuable. So you'd probably have to say Friendswood is probably the early favorite, but we all know anything can happen, and some of these other programs, again, LaPorte, not having to play that difficult schedule that it's played the last few years. There's some reason for optimism for the Bulldogs and what that program could do.
I love it. Well, Robert, thank you so much for your time, and we will see you soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Campfire. We have a couple of messages from our sponsors and a quick trivia question for you.
This week's trivia question: how many gold medals has LaPorte alumni Kieran Clement won in the Olympics? A, 1, B, none, C, 3, or D, 2? The answer when we return.
Chevrolet Inside High School Sports is brought to you by your Houston area Chevy dealers. Visit your nearest dealer to test drive our award-winning products. The film session is presented by your local Geico offices in Cypress, Katy, Spring, and Pearland. To get more information or a quote, go to geico.com/Houston. The Players on the Rise is presented by Grimaldi's Coal Brick Oven Pizzeria. Grimaldi's Pizzeria is open for dine-in, carry-out, and delivery. Visit grimaldispizzeria.com.
Welcome back to the Campfire. This week's trivia question: how many gold medals has LaPorte alumni Kieran Clement won in the Olympics? A, 1, B, none, C, 3, or D, 2? The answer, D, 2.
Did you answer that trivia question right? I did. Let me know if you got it right or wrong by commenting on our feed. Now, it's time for the district breakdown. We have Inside High School Sports Insider Matt Harris on to break down District 9 5A Division I. Matt?
Thanks, Ashley. We'll continue our 5A Division I coverage this week with District 9. Perhaps the most interesting thing about this district is that just 2 of the 8 teams made the playoffs in 2019, Friendswood and Port Arthur Memorial. With that being said, we'll start with an optimistic trio of Baytown schools looking to get back in the playoff race. First up is Goose Creek Memorial, who went 3-7 a year ago. Running back Bryce Lane is back to lead the Patriots on offense, but they'll need to find someone to step up at quarterback. Goose Creek Memorial lost 3 games by just 1 possession last season. If they can figure out how to win close games, it's easy to see how the Patriots could go from 3 wins to 5 or 6 wins and a playoff berth. The Lee Ganders are up from 5A Division II after narrowly missing the playoffs in a tough district a year ago. Now in an easier district despite moving up a classification, Lee is ready to challenge for a playoff spot. It will be tough to replace the production of multi-year starter Ejania Woolley at quarterback, but Lee has plenty of returning talent to lean on. Back are two-way starters Jaqueline Davis and Trudell Berry, who will help ease the transition into the starting quarterback role for whoever takes it, as they're both versatile offensive weapons. Davis and Berry will look to lead the Ganders to a playoff appearance, and I think they'll do it after a 5-5 season from a year ago. Elsewhere, Sterling drops down from 6A, meaning the three Baytown schools will all compete in the same district after all being in separate districts a season ago. The Rangers had a tough go in one of Houston's most competitive districts last season. They had to compete with the likes of Westbrook and North Shore for the last 2 seasons, each of whom made a state title game appearance in that time. However, Sterling returned some promising talent. Ryan DeLuna is back for his senior season after getting varsity reps at quarterback in each of the last 2 seasons. Also returning are defensive end Noah Lister and two-way standout Trinity Oliver. Sterling went just 1-9 last season, but they'll look to build on that now in a far easier district without the likes of North Shore and Westbrook. Just like Sterling, LaPorte drops down from the former 21-6A to join 9-5A Division I. However, LaPorte fared a little better than the Sterling Rangers did a season ago. The Bulldogs took their licks against North Shore and Westbrook, but still amassed a 4-6 record. That's something to build on in 2020. One of the coolest names in Texas high school football, River Thompson, is gone at quarterback. However, the Bulldogs returned dynamic back Brandon Collins in addition to some other key talent. In a district that returns just 2 playoff teams, I would expect LaPorte to be right on the back end of that district playoff race. Next up is the only team in the district that won more than 5 games in 2019, the Friendswood Mustangs. The scary news for the rest of the district is that Friendswood was young in 2019 and still excelled in a difficult district. Now the Mustangs are poised to wreak havoc on 9-5A Division I after returning a ton of talent from a 9-win team. 2-year starter Luke Gurdon is back to lead the offense at quarterback, while Noah Palitz joins him in the backfield. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see Friendswood run the table in the regular season and make a deep playoff run behind a healthy amount of returning talent. Our final team to cover in this district is Galveston Ball, who posted a 3-win season for the 2nd consecutive year. The troubling thing about Ball is that all 3 wins came in non-district play, but the good news is Graham Ledbetter is back at quarterback, and he'll have some of his top targets returning in wideouts Robert Ellis and Byron Sweeney. The returning talent is there to build on, but Ball's main focus for 2020 should be to try to win as many district games as possible. That wraps up our team previews for the district, but don't forget that Port Arthur Memorial and Beaumont United will factor into the playoff picture as well. My team to watch will be the LaPorte Bulldogs. I'm interested to see how they compete after moving down from one of the tougher districts in the state. And I think LaPorte will have a chance to be very competitive in this district after missing out on the playoffs a season ago. My player to watch may come as a bit of a surprise. To me, it seems like if teams want to slow down Friendswood, they'll focus in on quarterback Luke Gurdon. That means my player to watch will be his backfield mate, Noah Palitz. If Palitz has a big season, Friendswood could be virtually unstoppable. That'll do it for my 9-5A Division I preview, and I'm already looking forward to next week when we take a look at one of the best districts the state has to offer. Thanks, Ashley. Back to you.
Matt, great insight as always. That's all we have for this week's edition of the Campfire. Come back every Monday for a new episode. Until then, follow our social accounts. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. That'll be bringing you original content all week long. I'm Ashley Billington, and thank you for watching the Campfire.